Hello there and welcome to the Midday Brief. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano. To come, 202 Chinese nationals opt for voluntary repatriation, and former Volta River Authority boss Charles Reku Brobe insists service providers justify their desire for increment. And also ahead, St. Monica's College of Education discriminates against pregnant students. These are many more, including briefs from across the globe, from sports, from showbiz, and some wellness tips here on the Midday Brief when I return. So first, Dr. Charles Reku Brobe, former chief executive of the Volta River Authority, says even though it is an incontrovertible fact that paying realistic tariffs is important to ensure efficiency in the utility service delivery, there is also the need for service providers to justify the numbers they are proposing. Dr. Reku Brobe described as absurd for the Electricity Company of Ghana to demand 19 to 30% increase in tariffs. He said there was the need to investigate the elements of the right tariffs if consumers are to pay that. Officials of the Electricity Company of Ghana have contended that the increase in the price of raw materials and rising cost of producing power have necessitated the demand for increased tariffs.
Increase in tariffs, it was also, then there's another one later on. But even before then and after that, the problem has always been, the relationship between the tariff and the promise to deliver better quality. That has always been, and I deliberately have set out here by saying that the alternative to electricity is too horrible to contemplate. And I don't want anybody to go around saying that, we are paying too much for power. My argument is that we should pay the right price for power. There are policy issues involved, and we need to address all those policy issues. But at the heart of it all is a quality issue. And that's why I'm saying that, look, even if you grant tariff increases today, it will take 2 or 3 months for it to come up. So you're not going to address that issue. If indeed government owes my former corporation a lot of money, my suggestion would be to government, pay the money now. Pay the money now so VRA can buy the crude oil. Because, infrastructurally, VRA has licked, if not in a permanent way, the capacity and the production capacity issue. It is now, can you buy the crude? And when will West Africa gas pipeline come to offer some relief to Asogle and the other stuff so that you can reduce your crude oil bill? So these are all issues which, for me, suggest that even though the tariffs increases must be granted, we should look at the developments in the next 3 to 4 months in the light of all of these things which are coming in. And whilst we are looking at that, I don't want government to say we are buying crude oil for VRA. I want government to say that we are paying VRA what we owe them. We took a policy decision about 15 years ago or longer that additional capacity to our power generation system shall be by IPPs. That suggests to us that we are not expecting our current national producers to be playing a growing role in this whole business. So my position is this. If IPPs are going to be the future growth, then as and when they come on board, we are going to take account of the cost. But if we start operating as if we expect VRA to keep expanding generation, or we expect ECG to keep contracting IPPs outside of a strategically planned national thing, that for me is a problem. Because the way that VRA has traditionally done things, that policy changed that. We gave them the power to do generation. We established a separate entity from VRA. Track these huge.
Really?
Also, the presidency has ordered investigations into the activities of the National Identification Authority. The Minister of State at the presidency in charge of development authorities, Dr. Ahmed Mustafa, who confirmed this to the Daily Graphic, said a four-member committee, including a commissioner of the Public Services Commission, had been tasked with the investigations. He said while investigations were ongoing, the NIA had been advised to suspend all major activities, including the mass registration exercise currently ongoing in the northern region. Dr. Ahmed said issues to be investigated included the reasons for the tardy distribution of the Ghana card and other challenges impeding the operations of the NIA. He said it is prudent that major activities were suspended while investigations are still ongoing to ensure that the work of the investigative committee was not prejudiced. The directive by the presidency has, however, resulted in some confusion among staff of the NIA overseeing the registration exercise in the northern region. The registration exercise in the region began Tuesday, May 28, 2012 and ended in the first zone on June 6, 2013. The first zone included the central and eastern Gonja, Nanumba South and North, Yendi and Sabzugu Tatali districts. Mass registration exercises of the NIA involve the massive deployment of personnel and logistics, as well as the extensive public education programs on local FM stations to sensitize residents to where to register and what to do. The directive to suspend the exercise therefore may confuse residents of the districts in Zone 2 and Zone 3 who are next to benefit from the registration. The directive will come with the additional cost of demobilization of equipment and staff when the original plan was the seamless movement of the same from one zone to the next in the same region. The Judgment Debts Commission has indicated that it is satisfied with the level of cooperation it is getting from institutions it is investigating. The commission was established by President John Dramani Mahama to inquire into judgment debts payments from 1992 till date. So far, individuals and representatives of institutions, including the Bank of Ghana and the Auditor General's Department, have appeared before the commission, which has a one-year mandate. The public relations for the commission, George William Dove, told City News they are making enough headway. He, however, pointed out that the one major challenge they are facing is that sometimes some of them plead for time and they take time to get whatever information they need to, because record keeping generally in the country is very poor. Meanwhile, representatives of the International Tobacco Company Limited, Architectural Engineering Services Limited and K Limited will appear before the commission as it resumes sitting today. Right, so moving on with the news, we gather that 168 Chinese immigrants have been arrested in the country, while 39 have also been deported. Now, we were at the Ghana Immigration Service today and we spoke with the public relations officer of the Ghana Immigration Service. Take a look at this.
Okay, with respect to the arrest or those we took custody of yesterday, these were West African nationals who were brought in from the eastern region, and most of them, in fact all of them, did not have their passports with them. So we have to screen them to know exactly whether the nationalities they claim or the countries they claim they come from are indeed true. So we would have to do initial screening, find out, one, how they entered the country, two, which countries they're coming from. We'll have to liaise with their embassies or the countries they have mentioned, those embassies, to also come and do their screening to establish whether indeed they're nationals of that country. Once that process is done and we know where they're coming from, then we can think about where to repatriate them to. You need to know where they're coming from. You need to know which countries they belong to. You need to establish those facts before you can carry out any kind of deportation or repatriation. Without that, it's difficult. So currently they're in our custody. We are doing the screening, and we hope very soon we would try and establish their true identities, and then we'll take necessary actions. With regards to those who you saw leaving, some of them are on bail, and we are collaborating with the Chinese embassy. If you notice, the numbers we have in are quite large. The Chinese authorities are also concerned about the numbers. We also think that the earlier and the faster we deal with this matter, the better, because our facilities are inundated with the numbers. And so we are collaborating with the Chinese embassy. They've given us an undertaking that they would take custody of some of them, host some of them, but those they are hosting are those actually on bail. And as and when we need them, they'll provide them. So we have this understanding with the Chinese embassy, and that is how come some of them are on bail currently. Our detention area is quite small. We also are mindful of human rights issues and the fact that we need to accommodate them in a more humane environment. So these are arrangements we are putting in place because of our own peculiar challenges.
Away from that, the Ghana Revenue Authorities today conducting a briefing and tour of companies that owe taxes. My colleague Abigail Adomako Enchi is with them and joins me on the telephone. Hello, Abigail. Hello, Abigail.
Hello.
Right, Abigail, you have been with the team since you started this distress action exercise. Tell me where you have been and where you are at the moment.
We are currently on our way to a company. We are not in the known yet. We have already been to Mensvik Grand Hotel, who owed an outstanding debt tax of 48,159 cedis since April 2012. And now the GRA says that they are going to seal off about 24 companies who are owing, so that they can recover about 2.7 million cedis in Accra and Tema. And so these companies, according to the GRA, they have been reminded of the indebtedness, and they have been served with demand notices. And the GRA has also called them personally, visited them personally, and then they have been served with final demand notices, but nothing has been done. They have
and so what happened at Mensvik?
When we got there, we were met with some kind of agitation by the management, and some of the reporters were actually assaulted. But after everything, they paid their debt, and so we just left them minutes ago to the second place where we don't know. The GRA didn't reveal that to us yet.
Right.
So that is what is happening.
I'd like to believe that pressmen are fine as we speak, but Judge Blunkson also addressed a briefing before you embarked on the tour. Exactly what did he say?
Yeah, he said that this is to make sure that all tax arrears are recovered so that they can meet their targets for this year. A lot of companies are indebted to the GRA, and they have embarked on series of, actions to make sure that they pay, but they have not heeded to their call. So this is sort of the final action, the stress action that they are taking on them for them to redeem the debts that they owe.
And how much?
I can say that it's working because the first point of call, which is the Mensvik Grand Hotel, they have been able to pay. Though they were a bit agitated that the media was with the GRA. They were not expecting the media to be with them to take shots of the place and all of that. So they were very much agitated.
And so how much is the authority looking at raising from this exercise?
Yeah, like I said earlier, they hope to recover 2.7 million cedis for Accra and Tema alone. That is what they hope to recover from this exercise. Later on, they'll be moving to other regions.
Right, and so 2.7 million Ghana cedis from how many companies? Yeah. How many companies are they looking at?
24 companies.
24 companies.
24 companies, yeah, in Accra and Tema. So we have gone to one, and we are on our way to the second one. Yes, we just got to the second one, and it's PH Hotels. Yeah, another hotel here at East Legon. PH Hotels. We are yet to enter the premises.
Right, but
the GRA officials have already entered, and we, the media men, are outside. been asked to stay out.
Right. Right now, they've been embarking on this exercise for a while now. This is not the first kind of distress action exercise they are holding. What are they doing different this time? Because if you can still come to me and I'll give you the money and there's no problem, what exactly is different with this particular distress exercise?
Well, this time they are not taking any chances at all. We have security personnel with us, and they are making sure that if you owe, you either redeem it or they are stealing off your company, no matter how big your company is.
Right.
The GRA is really serious about this exercise, and they are already in talks with those who owe, and I believe that by the time they are done with the exercise, they would have recovered, if not all, the 2.7 million cedis.
Right. Thank you very much, Abigail. But has PH just handed over his check already?
Not yet. We are still outside waiting for them to come out.
I'm sure we will capture that in our subsequent bulletins. Thank you very much. Abigail Adomako is my colleague here at Joy News, and she's with the Ghana Revenue Authority. They have embarked on a district action exercise where they are going to companies who owe them to collect unpaid returns. They hope to scoop some 2.7 million Ghana cedis, and so far they have been to Mensvik, which owed them over 48,000 Ghana cedis. This is the Joy News channel. You're watching the Midday Brief. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, a number of areas within the Greater Accra and Eastern regions are soon to receive treated water. This follows the near completion of a water treatment plant at Kpong within the Eastern region under the Accra Tema Municipal Area Rural Water Supply Project. The project, which is estimated at $20 million, is being undertaken by Tahal, an international engineering company. It is facilitated by SHRA, an Israeli company, and Risk Insurance Corporation company. Key areas to benefit from the completion of the plant are Ningo Prompram, Ashaiman, Bechile, Ajekojo, and Dodoa, all within the Greater Accra region, as well as Kroboy Kwiapim range within the Eastern region. During a visit to the plant by Sharon Bar Lee, Israeli ambassador to Ghana, operations manager of the project, David Robinson, said when completed, the plant should produce 42,000 liters of water a day. He said raw water is drawn from the Volta River, after which it is processed for the plant. Robinson said the project, which began in May 2012, is expected to be completed by the end of this year, 2013. Ambassador Bar Lee said the project was an excellent example of Ghana-Israeli cooperation. She said Tahal had been in Ghana since the 1950s and had designed the original sewage system in Accra, adding that access to potable water was at the heart of development. Prior to a conference on water technology that would be held in Israel in October, some activities on water usage would also take place in Ghana in September. The Israeli ambassador said during the event in Ghana, stakeholder companies in water production and management would be invited to participate in order to share ideas on the better management and use of water. David Klein, Vice President Marketing and Business Development, Ashra, said the company guaranteed projects, adding that Ashra had approved over $300 million worth of projects in the country. He said the company hoped to work on the many more projects in the country as a result of the pertaining stable political and socio-economic situation. So usually when it rains and you live around the dam, you're not exactly too comfortable because the dam could, spill over. They're going to open the gates and then water will spill over. So if you are in the waterway, then you're probably in trouble. So today, Joy News decided to go out and then assess the situation. My colleague Jemfua Fusu is on the telephone lines, and she joins us with an assessment of what she's seen so far. Hello, yeah.
Hello, JJ. Good afternoon.
Right. Give us an update of exactly what you've seen since you started assessing the situation at Weija.
Okay. JJ, I'm currently at the dump site at Weija, the Weija treatment plant. And And as at Saturday, when the report came in that the Ghana Water was threatening to open the spillage, the water level was about 42 feet. And as I speak to you currently, the PRO, Mr. Stanley Mate, the communications director I had an interview with earlier, noted the water level has now reached 47, meaning that within the space of 3 days, the level of water has risen up to 5 more feet. And so they are saying that within some few hours, as in any time soon, or 24 hours time, they would have to open the dam for the water to exit. And we are currently here at the wager site, as I earlier told you, and speaking with the station manager, Mr. Paul Ghana. He says the water is now around 46.0. And so if it should get to around above 47, that is when they'll be forced to open it. But the Ghana Water says they are in collaboration with the security agencies, NADMO, and other stakeholders to educate the communities around about the situation, which is an annual ritual, I would say, by the Ghana Water Company. And so we are yet to also get to the communities and ask them what preparations they are taking towards the opening of the dam. JJ.
Right now, this is an annual situation. We know that it would happen when the rains start coming. What permanent measure is the Ghana Water Company putting in place to make sure that we don't have to worry about opening our waterways so that we can spill over water from the dam? What have they been saying about that?
Okay, JJ, I asked the Director of Communications about, let's say, any expansion or any measures they are putting in place to forestall some of these opening of the dam. And then he told me that right now their mandate is to make sure that they serve water to the communities and stuff. So if there's anything to be done, they would want to invest in some of the facilities rather than look at that. But then they have already cautioned the leaders of the communities to stop development and expansion of the residential areas close to the dam. So for now, they really don't have in mind anything to solve it.
If you've spoken with some of the residents in this area, in the waterway catchment area, how have they reacted to the news of the spillover?
Okay, as I said earlier, I'm yet to go to the communities to talk to them, but I asked the director about the response so far, because he said about 2 weeks ago, that is when they started the education about the opening of the dam. But he says some are adamant. They are saying they are used to the situation. They are already fishermen, and they are not scared about water. So I'm yet to go there to find out what these residents are yet to do about it. But for the response the Ghana Water says has received from the education done so far, it looks like some are not perturbed about the situation. So I'll give you an update on what the people in the community say about this exercise that is yet to take place.
Absolutely, yes. And when you get the information, we'll be here to take it. We've been speaking to Ya Fusua Jemfi. She's also with the Ghana Water Company, and they're assessing the situation at the Wager Dam here. And the Ghana Water Company is telling us in 24 hours it will open its gates and we will spill over some water from the dam. Let's move on with the news. Chief Justice Georgina Theodora Wood has dismissed the Osu District Magistrate, Her Worship Ellen Anoche, from the office effective June 1, 2013. This is because she failed to perform in a proper manner and in her duties as a magistrate, which is prejudicial to the efficient operations of the judicial service, according to Justice Wood. The dismissal letter dated May 28, 2013 and signed by the Chief Justice also ordered the magistrate to hand over her duties and all official properties in her possession to the Judicial Secretary with immediate effect. By a copy of the letter, the Director of Finance is requested to ensure that her name is deleted from the payroll of the service with effect from 1st June 2013. It also continues to say the magistrate is being dismissed because she allegedly insulted a party to a case, Nana Adjoa A. Akom in open court. Without provocation, it was alleged that she forcibly detained Nana Adwoa on a bench for accused persons. Nana therefore made a petition to the Chief Justice, who referred the case to the Appointments and Disciplinary Committee of the Judicial Council to investigate. Her Worship Erlen Anoche was found guilty of the offence and thus relieved of her post. Her dismissal letter says, the committee therefore found that a prima facie case has been made against you in respect of the allegations by Nana Adwoa A. Akom Mensah. The Appointments and Disciplinary Committee also found the response you submitted to the Honorable Lady Chief Justice in respect of the petition by said Nana Adwoa A. Akom Mensah, in which he used very vulgar and abusive words to be very rude and disrespectful towards the office of the Chief Justice. It continues to say the tone of the response was unbefitting of a judicial officer and has brought the judiciary into disrepute. The letter ended. So the Ghana National Association of Teachers in the Mampong municipality has called on the St. Monica's College of Education to allow 5 pregnant students to write their final exams. According to the Secretary of the Association, Reverend Patrick Tufor, the association was aware of the decision by the authorities of the school to disallow pregnant students from taking part in the final exams beginning in July this year because it was against their code of conduct. He expressed sympathy for the students whose fate was in the balance, as they would not be sent on postings by the Ghana Education Service if they do not write the impending exams. I noted that the development is worrying, as it is general knowledge that the GES was already challenged with a high attrition rate of teachers, as well as existing number of them in the shortage in several areas in the country. Reverend Tufor said consideration is needed for these unfortunate ladies who, in spite of their status, have diligently prepared for the approaching exams, and he wondered why pregnant girls in junior and senior high schools were allowed to write final exams when found in similar conditions, but tertiary, like the St. Monica's College, would deny the rights of his adult students. He therefore appealed to the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, the Ministry of Education, as well as the GES to intervene in the matter and help reverse the decision taken by the college. Paul Cramper is the director of he is the Public Affairs Director of the Ministry of Education, and he's joining us in the discussion. But my producers tell me we do not have him on the telephone line. But when we do, we'll bring that interview and find out how they intend to intervene, whether for temporal measures or permanent measures. In the meantime, stay on. I'll come back with more news. So you're still watching the Midday Brief with me, Kemini Nyamani Amano. Let's get some more news. Government may not heed to calls by the General Secretary of the NPP to investigate Sohin security further following the arrest of its manager in Ametondale Owen trafficking. Addressing today's media briefing, Deputy Information Minister Murtala Mohammed said government has no hand in the recruitment of Sohin security and that they went through appropriate tender processes by the Ghana Airport Company Limited. He is meanwhile urging that if the General Secretary has any information, he should hand it over to the security agencies.
The decision to award that contract was not determined by government. It was determined by the airport management company. They determined who should. But let me also state that I've heard a lot of stories. The American government has publicly indicated that they were able to arrest that gentleman through the collaboration they had with the security agencies in Ghana. I mean, this clearly tells you that if government was not so much concerned about ensuring that wrong do not happen, I believe that this arrest wouldn't have been effected. They have publicly indicated. I've listened to people who even claim some of the papers, and one of the reasons he gave was that the man was a financier of NDC. We don't know. We don't know. He has not financed NDC. And indeed, how would NDC want to give out someone who was a financier to the same government? In fact, the Americans have made it very clear that the arrest was effected through the collaboration they had with the security agencies in Ghana. And that point must be made very clear. So the contract was not in secrecy. It was through tender, and that contract was awarded, except that probably the General Secretary has some information we do not have. And I would advise that if he has any information we do not have, as a responsible secretary of a party, the most responsible thing he should do is to give the information to the security agencies.
Wellness is next. Nobody likes talking to a person with bad breath, and we like it even less when the one with the bad breath is with us, someone close to you. Today on Wellness, we take a look at the causes and possible cures for halitosis.
Some common symptoms of bad breath include the bad breath smell, bad taste or taste changes, dry mouth, and a coating on the tongue. Most causes of bad breath are due to inadequate oral hygiene and are rarely life-threatening. If good oral hygiene practices do not eliminate the bad breath, see a dental professional. In most cases, a dentist can treat the cause of bad breath. There are some symptoms that could prompt you that you are on the way to having bad breath or halitosis. An individual should consult their physician if they have persistent dry mouth, sores in the mouth, pain with chewing or swallowing, white spots on the tonsils, fever, just started a new medication, had recent dental surgery, or any other symptoms that are of concern. Bad breath in babies or young children may be a sign of infection or undiagnosed medical problems. Consult the child's doctor or dentist if an infant or young child has bad breath. People who suffer from bad breath want to know how to get rid of bad breath. Some examples of measures an individual can do to prevent or get rid of bad breath include practicing good oral hygiene, including brushing your teeth at least twice a day with fluoride toothpaste, brushing the teeth after meals, brushing the tongue, replacing your toothbrush every 2 or 3 months, using dental floss regularly. Dentures should be removed at night and cleaned thoroughly before being placed in your mouth. And, of course, you need to see your dentist at least twice a year. Stop smoking or chewing tobacco-based products. Keep your mouth moist by drinking water and chewing sugarless gum or hard candy to simulate the production of saliva. Avoid foods such as onions or garlic, which may cause bad breath. Mouthwash provides a temporary way to mask bad breath odors, but it may not treat the underlying cause. Natural bad breath remedies include chewing on mint or parsley. Clothes are also a good source of fresh breath. So next time you open your mouth to talk, check first.
In international news, South Africa's presidency says ex-president Nelson Mandela remains in hospital and his condition is unchanged.
South Africa's ex-president Nelson Mandela remains in a serious but stable condition in a Pretoria hospital. Prayers have been said in churches across the country for Mandela, who is being treated for a lung infection. Mandela, 94, was taken to hospital early Saturday, the third time this year he has been admitted. A former CIA technical worker has been identified by the UK's Guardian newspaper as the source of leaks about US surveillance programs. Edward Snowden, 29, is described by the paper as an ex-CIA technical assistant currently employed by defense contractor Booz Allen Hamilton. The Guardian said his identity was being revealed at his own request. The recent revelations are that US agencies gathered millions of phone records and monitored internet data. Officials say at least 12 people have been killed in a series of bombings in a market north of the capital, Baghdad. 2 car bombs went off and a suicide bomber blew themselves up in the predominantly Shia town of Judaidah al-Shat in Diyala province. It is the latest in a series of almost daily attacks across Iraq, raising fears of a return of the worst levels of sectarian violence in years. Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan has warned his patience has a limit as anti-government protests continued for a 10th day. Erdogan dismissed the protesters as looters in a defiant address to supporters in the capital, Ankara. Thousands of protesters gathered in Istanbul's central Taksim Square and Ankara's Kizilli Square on Sunday. The anti-government unrest was sparked by a police crackdown on a local protest over an Istanbul park.
Let's do some international business.
The Cabinet Office said the economy grew 1% between January and March compared to the previous 3 months, indicating an annualized growth of 4.1%. This is up from the initial estimates of 0.9% quarter-on-quarter growth. The data follows a series of aggressive policy moves aimed at spurring growth in Japan's economy. The upward revision in the growth numbers helped lift investor morale, with the Nikkei 225 index jumping nearly 5%. The overall impact on the policy measures introduced by Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and the Japanese Central Bank is now starting to be felt.
FIFA has named record-setting Ghana captain Asamoah Gyan as the best player for the weekend 2014 World Cup qualifiers for Africa. The world governing body named the Black Stars attacker following his heroics in Sudan, where he scored a brace to help his country to a 3-1 victory. Gyan scored 2 goals in Omdurman that smashed Abedi Pele's scoring record for Ghana and also sealed the important win for the Black Stars. Ghana have had 2 training sessions since arriving in South Africa on Saturday to prepare for the weekend's crucial 2014 World Cup qualifier against Lesotho. The Black Stars touched down in Johannesburg on Saturday afternoon, less than 24 hours after beating Sudan 3-1 to keep alive their hopes for reaching the final phase of the qualifier. Kwesi Appiah and his 24-member playing squad left Omdurman immediately after their victory over the Nile Crocodiles on Friday night to make the journey to South Africa.
That's it for this hour. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amanot. But just before we go, a look again at our headlines. 202 Chinese nationals opt for voluntary repatriation. Former VRA boss Charles Reku Brobe insists service providers justify their desire for increment, and St. Monica's College of Education discriminates against pregnant students. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a lovely week. And let's go back to the courtroom and hear more of the election petition case.